Hello, my name is Ian Contover. This is the Current Buzz. Thank you for watching today. Today we have Dr. Jay Lang. He's the Superintendent of Schools of Chelmsford Schools, and we're going to talk about the Chelmsford school system. And the school system, or the town, is trying to obtain a new middle school. Is that correct? And we're going to talk about that because it's called the MSBA, which is called Massachusetts School Building Authority.
Correct.
And there's a process to go through.
Correct.
So explain the process and how far we're through the process.
Yeah, so thank you for having me again.
Yeah,
Dean.
thank you for coming.
No, it's always fun to come on. So people in town may have heard about our project to try to work on building a new school in town. All of our school facilities, they're very well maintained and they're used obviously very well during the school day, but they're all 50 to 60 years old. So, well, plus in some circumstances. So we need to start updating our facilities. We're also dealing with some enrollment trends that are going to start to increase over the next number of years, and we just don't have a lot of capacity in our buildings. So one of the things we wanted to look at was a potential new school building project in town. We ended up settling on a potential new middle school in Parker Middle School.
Rather than the high school, because a lot
Rather
of people...
than the high school, because it's very difficult to get a new high school project. There are a limited number of projects that get approved each year. And our school, although ironically it's our newest school in town, it came online in '74, so it's about 50 years old. But you're competing against other high schools statewide that are in excess of 100 years old. So it's all the competition based on your need, the condition of the schools. Chelmsford High School is very well maintained, and we just weren't able to make a compelling argument for a new high school. So we then had to kind of go back to the drawing board and figure out what could we make a compelling argument on, and it ended up being Parker Middle School. So we ultimately went forward to the MSBA, which is the Massachusetts School Building Authority, because that's a state agency that will partner with the town to help pay some of the costs for a new school. So in Chelmsford's case, about 52% of the cost for the school would be borne by the state through the MSBA, and then Chelmsford would have to contribute about 48%. So, I mean, close to a 50-50 spread.
Yeah.
But anytime you're doing a major project of that magnitude, if you can get half of it to be paid for by the state and not have to basically bond or take out a loan for that, why wouldn't you do that? You'd be much better off. So we started the process about a year and a half ago with the state. Parker was accepted into what they call an eligibility period, where we had to complete several milestones with the MSBA to prove that our community was in need. We had to certify enrollment projections on what a new school would look like. We had to talk about what concepts and what grade levels we'd like to see in that potential new school. And ultimately, we were approved to look at 3 different options for Parker. As you know, this is the second year that Parker and McCarthy have been separate. So Parker houses all of the students in the district in grades 5 and 6, and McCarthy houses all students grades 7 and 8.
Right.
So the first option we're going to look at is just a 1-for-1 replacement of Parker, so just a true grade level school. That would obviously be a new school, but it wouldn't help us at all with our enrollment needs. A second option, which we got accepted to look at, which I think is kind of exciting, is building a potential new grade 4, 5, 6.
Wow,
so what that would allow us to do is take the 4th grade out of the elementary schools. That would open up some capacity at the elementary school buildings, about 100 kids per space, and 3 grade levels in town would all have a brand new facility. The third option we're able to look at is to do one kind of mega middle school, bringing all 5, 6, 7, 8 back together in one new building. Parker would then go offline, but McCarthy could be utilized as a 5th elementary school. You could possibly do like a rezoning. So that would also help with enrollment. When you look at those 3 projects, obviously in sequence is going to be cost. So the least expensive is going to be the 1-for-1 replacement of 2 grade levels. The moderate one is going to be the 4, 5, 6, and the most expensive is obviously going to be the 5 through 8, all under one roof. That actually would have a student enrollment capacity of about 1,700 to 1,750 kids, which is actually more than our high school has. So we're going to have to go through the process. We're going to have to look at those 3. But one of the great things that happened is we actually got through the eligibility period early, because we were supposed to get done by the end of December, and then we were on target to be invited into the perform a feasibility study by the MSBA board at the end of February. But we completed all of our milestones early, and we actually got invited at the December board meeting of the Mass School Building Authority to begin our feasibility study. So we actually got a 2-month head start, which is great for us. The first thing that we need to do is procure an owner's project manager, or an OPM you're going to hear about.
Okay.
That would be like our agent at the table to help construct the building, to do community outreach, to talk about which option we should look at. They're a group that would work very closely with the designer or the architectural firm on the building. That's a next step for us. But the way things are shaping up now is we're going to be getting an OPM on board sometime early spring, probably the March, April timeframe. We'll then be advertising for a designer to work with us on this project. That advertisement will occur in the late spring, early summer. Our goal is by the end of the summer to have our OPM and our designer on board. And then next school year, the fall of 25 through the spring of 26, we would actually be working with the community to figure out which of these three options makes the most sense for us. We would select an option that we want to move forward with. And then likely at this point, during the fall of 26, that election, we'd likely have a ballot question to see if the town residents will support us in whichever option we select. So this is actually going to start to move very quickly. Next school year, there will be a lot of opportunity for community input, design options, which model we should go with, and I'm really excited about this next phase of the work.
Yeah. Will this new school have an elevator, I presume?
Yeah, likely. It's going to be a
Yeah.
multi-floor building. I would see it being at least 2 floors, if not 3.
Yeah.
And yes, it would have an elevator.
Yeah, I would, if I can get on the building committee, all right, I would suggest one where you could put a whole, what do they call those things you put in the ambulance there? You could.
Oh, a wide enough elevator?
yeah,
Well, that's a code issue now, so you have to do that.
Do you have to
Yeah.
do that now? Oh.
Any new elevator, like some of our schools are older.
Yeah.
So you might have a difficulty with that.
Yeah.
But the current code says you actually have to have elevators to be a certain size.
Oh,
so
okay,
that
good.
they can accommodate that.
And will it have buttons for handicap and wheelchairs?
Yes, everything would have to be
Oh,
handicap
okay,
accessible.
Good, all
Yep,
right.
so all the
Sorry, I
design-
don't have to be on the building committee.
Okay, no, but that would definitely come into the discussion with regard to a new design.
So you need a building committee too, right?
We do.
Citizens?
So the town actually appointed a building committee specifically
Already?
for Parker. We did, because the MSBA, that was one of the steps we had to take when we were doing the eligibility period. They have a very prescribed list of people who have to be on the formal committee.
Right.
The superintendent, the town manager, a member of the school committee, a member of the select board. You have to have the DPW in town. So there were like positions that had to be on there.
I see.
That group will hold public meetings and public input sessions all through next school year. So that's when the work in the fall of 25 through spring of 26 is really going to kick in. There'll be plenty of opportunity for residents, for parents, for students to give input to the process and to talk about the 3 different options. But we're still about 6 months away from that.
I'll be an alternate on the committee if you need somebody to fill out.
I'll make a note
citizen,
and I'll keep that on there. But
Well,
there'll be plenty of citizen input.
Yeah, I think some committees are in 15, 20 or something. And some of the
Some committees?
Some of the school districts have 15 to 20 people on the committee.
Oh, you do, yeah, you do get to specify like how many people you want on there. Ours has 13.
Oh, at this
You
time.
want to have an odd number, but 13 is
Yeah.
pretty manageable.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
when you get much bigger than that, it becomes unwieldy.
Yeah.
And the big step that committee is going to do is basically hiring the owner's project manager and the designer. Those are the 2 big elements, because those are the people who are the professionals that are going to be working to do all of the analysis, the building plans, the designs, oversee the construction. So the building committee is basically going to be an intermediary with the OPM.
Will they be? They don't have to be local people. I mean, you could get somebody from Boston to do
You
that.
mean to be the OPM?
Yeah, the OPM.
Oh, no, it's a procurement, so it gets advertised. Anyone can submit, they'll be local, they'll be Massachusetts, they'll be
Okay.
New England-based, they
Oh.
could be national
Oh,
groups
okay.
that ultimately submit a proposal, and we have to select the OPM that's going to best meet our needs.
The question I have, will there be a gym involved in regards to this new school?
Oh, yeah, the new school will have all the amenities that our schools currently have. So, and this is what we have to look at, but obviously it'll have classroom space for regular education programs, special education programs, a cafeteria, gymnasium, maybe some type of a performance area.
Okay.
So all of that.
No swimming pool.
No swimming
swimming
pool.
pool, okay.
No, there are no. So there are certain things that are ineligible in programs. Swimming pools are one.
Can somebody donate a swimming pool to?
I guess there's nothing stopping it. I don't see that ever being included in our design.
Well, you would have to take care of the maintenance after.
The maintenance is
after,
very
you know.
tricky. It's also a safety,
that's true.
and security
Yeah.
concern within buildings.
Yeah.
So I'm not thinking that that's likely going to happen.
I see. In regards to the gym, I hate to take a shot at Lowell High School, but that new Lowell High School gym has leaking and problems in bathrooms and situations where a gym to me is where community goes if there's a crisis, if there's a hurricane or a tornado, they go to a gym and they stay there. If you don't have enough restrooms, you're going to have a problem.
Right.
Because to me, that's an emergency area that people will go to. Let's say we lose electricity in the middle of the winter, you can go to the local gym.
Right. Yeah, I've been to the Lowell High. I went to see our wrestling. We had a wrestling meet there last year. Chelmsford was wrestling Lowell, so I went to that match, or the meet. And aesthetically, it's a very nice looking gym. I don't know for practical purposes how it's working out, but again, you'd have to kind of go back to what was the design. Was it designed for more instructional space? Was it designed to be a community space? I don't know what the necessary design was for it.
Yeah.
But we would definitely have a gymnasium in our building. We have them in all of our schools.
Right.
There'd be computer labs and art rooms and
Right.
and the like. So I'm really excited to get
So
into
it'll
this
be
next
really
phase.
wired, hardwired for charging your computer in the classroom and that type of thing, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we have that. We're even retrofitting our existing buildings because,
Oh, no kidding.
all of our students in grades 5 through 12 have a device with them. So you
Right.
need to be able to plug in and recharge. And our elementary students, we have devices on carts. We don't have those kids just because of the size. We don't have them take the device back and forth with them.
Right.
But there's a device for every student in every school.
Yeah, in regards to charging, you have to have outlets and do we have backup in regards to generators for the schools?
We have generators.
Every school?
Yeah, every school has a generator, but the generator would only go on if the regular power.
Right, exactly.
So and this happened at Byam, unfortunately we had a little windstorm last spring where we lost power over there. The backup generator would come on to just keep the life safety systems in the building going, corridor lights, things along those lines. They only come on in an emergency. They're not.
Yeah, no, I
We don't need
understand.
them to support anything else in the building.
They come on emergency. I just want to know. So the new school would have a backup like that?
Oh, yes.
Or one or two backups?
Every new building would be, yeah. You would actually have it be, and you would figure out what systems you need to maintain during a power outage.
Right.
And you would actually have a right-sized option for
You
that.
see, that's what I mean about in regards to community. In regards to backup, you have a computer. If the lights are out, you have a backup system. I
Sure.
don't know whether it would be gas or fuel or whatever, that type of thing. But, I mean, it makes sense.
And that's what we'll be
It's a
working with the
community, yeah.
designer and the OPM on to figure out
Right.
exactly what we would need for the space of the building and what we're trying to accomplish.
There's other issues I'd like to talk about.
Sure.
Right? MCAS.
Sure.
Were you in favor? Well, I should have put you on the spot. We no longer require MCAS. Is that?
Yeah, so here's what happened. So there was a ballot initiative to basically see if the MCAS test should be used as a competency determination
Right.
for students earning their high school diploma.
Right.
I think there was a lot of misconception about exactly what was happening. There were a lot of people who thought if the ballot initiative passed, MCAS was going away. MCAS is not going away. MCAS is still going to be administered elementary right through the high school. It just at the high school level is not going to count as a competency determination toward earning your high school diploma.
Right.
So what that has now done is had every community in the state go back and figure out, well, what is it going to mean to earn a diploma from Chelmsford High School? So if we don't have a statewide assessment that students had to ultimately pass to have it be that determination,
Right.
everyone now has to kind of figure out what it is. So what we've gone short term is taking a look at our existing courses that we offer at the high school. Are there certain math courses? Are there certain science courses and English courses that kids have to pass and have to obtain a certain grade level to count towards their high school diploma? So now you have every community in the short term, because this got passed in November, came into law right around the first of the year. But we have kids that are graduating this June, and we've got to make sure that we can certify and say that they've earned a Chelmsford High School diploma. So in the short term, what we actually did was we went back to COVID, because during COVID, we couldn't administer the MCAS because the kids were at home. So at that point in time, there were certain courses that we said if students pass these courses, this allows them to earn the diploma. So for this year, what we've done is kind of gone back to that. So the courses that previously counted towards a diploma are going to count this year. And we honestly, at this point, we only had, I think it was 5 or 6 students who hadn't passed the MCAS, the seniors. So that was our group we were working on. A couple of them actually were just new students to Massachusetts, because if you happen to live in New Hampshire and you relocate to Massachusetts, you never would, right, but you never would have taken the MCAS.
Right.
So we have to figure out some way to help those students. So we'll help the handful of students who now we're not going to be able to just use the MCAS as the competency determination, but longer term, I know the state is going to put a group together to kind of figure out what should come after MCAS, what should be that statewide determiner, because you do want a diploma to be baseline. So if you earn a diploma from Chelmsford or Lowell or Billerica, you want to make sure a student has attained a certain level of proficiency and performance so that it actually means something.
Right.
So that's what we'll be working on over the next couple of years.
I see, okay. I just thought it was silly. I'm going to use the easy word, silly, to take a test, take an MCAS in your sophomore year, whether you graduate, in your senior year.
Well, it's based on knowledge that you should have acquired by the time you were a sophomore.
Yeah.
And then if you didn't pass the test, you were given an option multiple times to take it again later in your sophomore year or your junior or your senior year. And you were only held to the data you should have received or the information you should have received by the time you were a sophomore.
I see.
So that was the logic.
Premise of that, yeah, okay.
Correct.
I just want to know, why that was the situation. Security is a big thing in schools now.
Sure.
Now you come in and you have a little device at the door.
Yeah, we have a new visitor management system.
And this is your new tag, and you put it on, and you can walk around the schools once you're in the system, and it takes information off your driver's license. What if they didn't have a driver's license? What happens if?
Well, you need to have some type of identification when you come to the school. A passport would work.
Yeah.
But the premise for this is, I want to say about 3 years or so at this point at the high school, we actually wanted to build kind of a containment area, because the high school gets a lot of traffic during the day. You have people coming for meetings, you have parents coming to drop something off,
lunch,
someone forgot their lunch or their coffee. So you have all kinds of action happening, and we didn't want to have just a lot of extra people coming and going from the building. So we built a secure entryway at the high school, which really has worked out very well.
Secured entry.
A secured entry, kind of a secure vestibule at the high school.
Okay, got it.
Where you buzz to come in. We have a visitor management system, so you have to present with an ID. It runs your license. It automatically is running a background check to make sure that you don't have any open, say, warrants or reasons why you shouldn't be allowed in a school.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, so you must have cleared. You must be in pretty good shape if you got into that.
I did clear.
So it does do that, and then once you're approved, it actually then prints you out a badge. So you used to come into the building and have a handwritten note. Well, this badge is actually date stamped. So if you try to come into the building and say another day with that, we're gonna know that you weren't authorized that day to come into the building.
Right.
So it also helps us keep track of who's in a building, and when you leave, you have to also scan out.
correct.
So when you leave, we're gonna know you've left the building. At the end of the day, the system tells us, Dean didn't check out of the building. So we can go look at the tapes, we can contact you. You may have left and just forgot to check out, but we want to make sure that if something ever happened in the building, we know who's there, who we need to be able to contact.
No.
So this past summer, we actually built a secure entryway or vestibule at McCarthy Middle School, because that school was relatively open when you walked in the front doors.
Yeah, it is.
So it's not any longer. So we actually built out a containment area at McCarthy. So when you come in, you have to stop at the secure entry, you have to check in, you have to run through the system, you need to get a badge, and then you need to be escorted to wherever you're going within the building.
Oh, escorted.
Escorted, yeah, you just can't walk free through the building.
Oh,
So if
okay.
you were there for a meeting with a teacher, or you were going to a conference room, someone will actually escort you to that conference room. It's just a way to kind of, again, contain who's in the building and know why they're there, and it's worked very well. What we ended up doing was purchasing the visitor management system for all of the schools, even though we don't have the secure entries built out yet. Town meeting, through the capital plan just this past November, approved us adding the secure entries at all the other schools. So at Parker and all of our elementary schools, we'll be building a containment area similar to what you have now at McCarthy in the high school, everywhere else. And then this visitor management system will be integrated into that secure entry.
In regards to evenings, let's say I want to go to see a theater at the Performing Arts Center. Do I have to do that?
You don't, because that is a little bit different. So this basically is an operation during the school day,
Okay.
when the regular school program is in effect. 8 to 2 o'clock, 8 to 2:30, whenever it is. That's when the kids are in school for like school purposes. We don't have secure entry in the evening time. Like if there's an outside group that comes to rent the space, they would actually just be coming into the rent the space. They're responsible for the people that they allow in and have there. The pack is different. The games at the high school, or if you go to the stadium, that is different as well. You're coming in after hours. You are contained to what part of the building you can be in,
I see.
but whoever's running the activity is responsible for making sure that the people are there for the right reason.
I have a short time, so I'm going to knock off some of these things. Are we teaching cursive writing?
So there is a little section in third grade on cursive writing to show students exactly how to write.
Okay.
We don't do cursive writing the way, when we were kids.
Yeah, right.
Cursive writing occurred, but at least to expose students to cursive writing, yes, in third grade.
Sign
they're
their
exposed.
signature?
It'd be nice if kids could at least sign a signature. That's
Well, I
something
mean-
I've struggled with my own kids. Just trying to help them, even when they go to get their driver's license,
Right.
and have an actual signature. So it is something that we do touch on at the elementary level.
Okay, all right, that's good. College credits at Chelmsford High School.
Yes.
Give us an update of that.
Yeah, our dual enrollment program is expanding. So we have a very good
Good.
partnership with Middlesex Community College.
Yep.
Kids are able to take classes at Chelmsford High School that not only earn them credit at Chelmsford High School towards graduation, but also earn them college credit through a transcript at Middlesex Community College. And our kids are able to then take that and kind of have a head start when they actually go to college. Not have to take some either basic
English
classes
101.
or
Yeah.
extra classes.
Yeah.
They might be able to start as a sophomore as opposed to a junior, and it's really a cost savings measure, because you know how expensive college is these days.
Yeah.
If you can take some of your program in high school and have some of those prerequisite courses count, you can, again, either jump ahead and have to do less, four-year college, or you might even be able to get a little bit deeper and take some extra classes at the school that you go to. That's really up to the student. But we keep adding courses each year at the high school, and it's been very successful.
Attendance, how is it in regards to the winter months, in regards to the children in
It's
school?
normal. I have to say now, we're 3 years kind of post-COVID.
Yeah.
We're getting back to normal. Schools feel like much, more normal
Yeah.
in the buildings. We have little seasonal things that do, hit, the last couple of weeks coming back from the Christmas break. And we were off for 2 weeks this year. So sometimes when the kids reacclimate and come back, you see a little spike in, the flu or colds or strep throat, things like that.
Yeah.
But nothing out of the ordinary. We're in pretty normal terms.
Snow days, you haven't used one snow day,
Knock
right?
on wood, we've had no
Yeah.
snow days yet, and it looks like pretty clear sailing through February break.
Accreditation, isn't that done every 10 years or so?
Yes.
Are we coming up with accreditation in regards to the high school?
We actually just finished.
Oh, we finished?
yeah,
Okay.
so there's a-
Let us know what happened.
It was good. So
good.
it is a 10-year accreditation process.
Right.
It's a little different now, where instead of just kind of waiting for the 10 years, every 2 years, there are different steps that you have to take to just kind of keep on track. So when the accreditation team came in, the high school earned full accreditation.
Oh, good.
But they always say suggestions. We think
Yeah.
you could improve on this, so we'd like to see you work on this. So the high school will then take those recommendations, incorporate it into their goals and planning for the year. And then an accreditation team will come out about every 2 years and see how you're doing. They might make some adjustments. So it's a more cyclical process now,
see.
as opposed to start and stop. But no, the high school had a very smooth and good accreditation. A lot of great work happening over there at the high school with our staff and admin.
Cell phone policy, what is that? I have a minute and a half to go.
I got a minute and a half to
Yeah.
go. So cell phone policies is something the school committee's actually talked a little bit about this fall, if you watch any of the school committee meetings. Our current policy and practice for students is no cell phones in class while class is taking place. At the elementary school level, it's not a huge issue because of the age of the students.
Right.
When you get to middle school, kids start to have cell phones. The policy is shut it off, keep it in your bag. We don't want to see it out in the classroom during the day.
Good.
If you do, the first thing is it just gets taken away and brought to the office. You have to go see the principal at the end of the day to get your phone back. Second time, your parent has to come in and get the phone.
Oh,
from you.
wow.
You know, third time would be additional consequences.
Right.
People are pretty willing to work with us at that level. At the high school level, they're a little bit more